hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, 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 check. Hello.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. S- Students, please settle down.
Students, at the beginning, I would request all of you to please keep your mobile phones on silent or flight mode, right? It should not ring in the between. Thank you so much. Please do that immediately.
নমস্কার, সুপ্রভাত। সম্মানীয় সকল অতিথিকে দুদিনের ন্যাশনাল মিডিয়া কনক্লেভে স্বাগত। সিস্টার নিবেদিতা ইউনিভার্সিটির গণজ্ঞাপন ও সাংবাদিকতা বিভাগ আয়োজিত এই ন্যাশনাল মিডিয়া কনক্লেভের বিষয় হল ডিজিটাল ইজ দ্য নিউ মেইনস্ট্রিম।
We all know Digital India is a flagship program of our government with a vision to transform our country into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. Be it for online banking, e-commerce, socializing, communicating, or conducting research, digital is the new mainstream.
Now I am inviting our respected guests to come on the stage for the lamp lighting ceremony. We are privileged to have our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay with us. Sir, I am requesting you to come on the stage.
I would humbly invite on the behalf of Sister Nivedita University, our guests of honor, Dr. Anand Pradhan, IIMC Delhi, Professor Anando Mitro, Wake Forest University, North Carolina, Mr. Manoj Sharma, Director PR, Goldmine Agency, to please kindly come on the stage to light the lamp and inaugurate the function.
Now I am humbly invite Dr. Buroship Dashgupta, Director of Media Studies, Sister Nivedita University, and Dr. Professor Minal Parekh, Conclave Convener and HOD, Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Sister Nivedita University. Sir and ma'am, please come to the stage. শুরু করছি আমাদের প্রদীপ প্রজ্বলন অনুষ্ঠান। ধন্যবাদ সকলকে। Now we are starting our felicitation ceremony. I am requesting our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir to felicitate Professor Dr. Anand Pradhan. Please welcome Dr. Pradhan with a big round of applause.
The painting used for the felicitation ceremony is prepared by the Finance Department of Sister Nivedita University.
Now I am requesting our Honorable Director of Media Science, Dr. Buroship Dashgupta Sir, to felicitate Professor Anando Mitro. Please welcome Professor Mitro with a big round of applause. I am requesting our HOD ma'am, Professor Minal Parekh, to felicitate Mr. Manoj Sharma. Please welcome Mr. Manoj Sharma with a big round of applause.
Now, I would request all our dignitaries to take their seats. Thank you so much. With the evolving digital space, the Department of Mass Communication at Sister Nivedita University is not left behind. We have integrated digital technologies in their teaching pedagogy. With the power of digitization, our students are actively engaging with strong online footprints. Let's watch a small clip showcasing the same.
Now, I would like to request our conclave secretary, Professor Orindam Basu, to say few words about this National Media Conclave.
I usually don't write my speeches, but today is an exception. So, good morning to the dignitaries seated on the front rows, scholars, professors, professionals, my colleagues, and my dear students. I feel elated to be able to welcome you all here today. When we broached the topic of organizing a national conclave, not for a moment did we feel that it was an impossible dream. It was because our HOD and my dear friend, Dr. Minal Parekh, who said, go on, do it. If you need anything, I'm there. And the colleagues, all my dear colleagues, they put their best foot forward. The students came ahead. Our VCs are present here, our registrar sir. They supported us immensely. Thus, for a person who has been a professional for almost 27 years of his life and just got into academics a year back, could take the courage from all of this to put together this conclave. But at this point, if I don't mention our Chancellor Sir, Sri Shottam Roy Chaudhary, it would be an injustice because he's silently present in every constructive act that this university takes. It's like the air we breathe. It gives us life, but often we don't realize it and value it. So I would like the entire audience out here to give a big round of applause to all of them. But why a conclave? It's because this young university focuses on outcome based education, and excellence in pedagogy. Digital has been the centrality of the new education policy, and hence the theme digital is the new mainstream. Currently, if we go into a little bit of analysis, 39% of Indian population has access to internet. The internet penetration rate is expected to reach 55% by 2024. According to a Forbes report, by 2030, a billion Indians will have access to internet, and over 500 million will have access to internet in regional languages. The government's thrust on digital education continues with our budgetary allocation. With an increased focus towards a digital economy, the government has come up with a lot of opportunity, and it's aiming to increase digital intensity in education. A host of programs like Diksha, eBasta, ePathshala, knowledge management system, and learning management system plans to integrate pedagogy with the digital world. Moving ahead, the government aims to make the education industry interface a lot more fluid. This conclave plans to bring together these ideas and show how the digital world is transforming our society. I welcome you all to this conclave and hope these 2 days will be engaging, enriching, and really exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. I consider it a great honor to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay, to say some words. So please.
A very good morning to all of you. Let me first thank Arindam. Arindam, you did a really great job. We are really proud of you that how you managed the whole conclave and your ideas. And I'm sure the total mass communication faculty members who are with you, they should get a big hand of applause. Let's students, let's give a big hand of applause to your faculty members. Yeah. So when Atoshi is mentioning the things where this particular digital is a new mainstream, she mentioned about couple of things, but she missed one. The one which actually Arindam mentioned, that it is actually digital education, which is actually again coming into this, where our mainstream digitization of the whole thing is becoming very, very relevant. But it's unfortunate that what we could find that digitization or digital education been considered by University Grants Commission in 2010. It's almost 12 years back. And there are number of different types of programs taken by UGC, like SWAYAM, like NPTEL, like we have this Pathshala. All these are very good things which are coming up, but it never gets popularity. It's absolutely nobody considered it. The percentage of the education organization is only, I think, utilizing 10% of this. But in this respect, I must thank the corona. The coronavirus actually helped us to understand what is digital education. Because unless this corona came, which actually pushed us for this online education, we actually could not understand the impact of this online education. And now, definitely what we call that this online education system as well as the offline, the combination is going to give us the best results, and that's why all the time we are calling about not digital but phygital. So why don't have that phygital, which actually helps us quite a bit. And when I just came to know about the type of the presenters in this conclave, it's really you, the students, who should feel very proud, because it's almost the persons who are in the top and who can give you the perspective of this digital in the new mainstream from all different angles, from all different types of categories, what actually mentioned by Atoshi, and education definitely. So I'm sure that you are going to enjoy these 2 days of lectures. And I don't know how to thank all of you, and there are many more who are going to join us. Um, thank you, everybody. Have a great, successful conclave.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom.
Now, I humbly invite Dr. Buroshibo Dasgupta, Director of Media Studies, Sister Nivedita University, to grace the stage and share his insights. Thank us, please, sir.
Well, good morning, everybody. Um, well, the topic today is what we need to understand is what is mainstream? What is mainstream media? And whether the digital has become mainstream. Well, this idea of mainstream has been developing very fast. You know, when if I speak from my experience, I would say when I walked into say the Statesman House in Calcutta in early 80s, straight from the university, and then moved on to a little later to Times of India. That was the mainstream media in the 80s. But then at that time we had the television, but there was only one channel, that was Doordarshan. I did have some experience in Doordarshan producing a program on environment for about 3 years in Doordarshan, but then that was forgotten. I mean, by 90s, the Doordarshan has been replaced by the mainstream, by about a few hundred private television channels, and that became mainstream. I mean, the newspapers were left back. I mean, behind the scene, the Doordarshan, the television has become the mainstream. Well, with the turn of centuries, as you can see in 2000, at that time, remember, in Statesman House, I was still introduced to the typewriter. Well, in Times of India, the technology was typewriter. The Times of India, it was the computers. There was nowhere, the internet was to be seen. In the turn of the century, it became a part of the mainstream, and it is today. Now, everything is driving towards the web and our learning in the web. I remember today teaching my students SEO. I mean, the key to enter into the web and how to draw attention of the, draw the attention of the readers and the consumers. But that is what we learned in the first days in my statesman era, in my print era, to draw the attention of the reader. So there is no difference. There is no cutoff from one thing to the other. It is a continuous process. The change of, the medium, the platform, and maybe the process. That's all. And I really hope that this digital media and transforming the society through the digital media will go on, and your participation. I'm told there are 32 research scholars who will be presenting the research on their research paper on this conclave in this 4 sessions that will be down the line in 2 days. And I wish them as well as you all success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. The next speaker I would like to invite is Dr. Meenal Parekh, Conclave Convener and HOD Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Sister Nivedita University, on the stage. We are excited to hear some words from you, ma'am.
I don't know when sir is there, what more to talk about. But yes, when we started our journey at Sister Nivedita University, it was like there was nothing here. It was like plain building with no walls also. So now today, seeing this shaping up so big along with the faculty members and whoever are part of my team, doing such great work is itself, a pride that yes, we are doing good, and to break the myth that it is always told that people who come from the industry do not know academics. So we've proved it that we are not that. So we've been there in academics, we've rocked there, and we are rocking here also. So they say that, when you come to your classes, what you teach in the industry and what are there in the books do not match. So it's not true, it's not that. And also, people who come from the industry also know research. So we've proved that also. Thank you to Arindam for taking this initiative and running around day in and day out and making things happen. So as said, we are a big umbrella with a lot of students, a lot of faculty members. We work as a team, and I always believe that it's always the teamwork that um, brings forward such initiative. We will keep on doing it. Please be with us and grace us on all the occasions. And on behalf of Sir is already there, so in behalf of Registrar and Chancellor Sir, I would like to thank all my students and the guests who are present here. And we just hope that 2 days, we finish this very nicely, very beautifully. Tomorrow also is a big day for us, apart from today. So please be there with us. Please bear with us. See all these presentation and after the conclave is finished and it's over, we have decided to bring up a journal also. So this is one initiative, first initiative that has been taken by the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism. So all the best to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your encouraging words. I am profoundly delighted to take an opportunity to invite Conclave Treasurer Professor Shoykot Mujumdar for extending the vote of thanks.
Good morning, all. Respected Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. Tripujyoti Chattopadhyay, other dignitaries present here, faculty members and research scholars from other institutions, and of course, my esteemed colleagues and my dear students. Actually, this is something, the conclave, which is happening today, what the inaugural session we are in. Actually, I remember, and my dear colleague and our HOD, Dr. Minal Parikh, might remember that we started planning it in way back in 2019. We were planning about a conclave, and we were thinking about the theme, everything. And later, when my dear friend Arindam joined our team, we, along with another colleague, Dr. Professor Chumur Dattagupta, and all of us were planning about this conclave till 2019. Then 2020 came, the pandemic came. Our planning spoiled over there, and it was spoiled like many other things all over the world. But when we came out of the shadow of the pandemic, we started planning again. And when we ultimately, we have been successful to arrange this. And for this, it could not have been possible without the blessings and advices from our respected Chancellor, Mr. Shottam Raichaudhuri sir, Vice Chancellor sir, Registrar sir, and others. So at the first place, we're really grateful to all of them for the constant guidance to us. We sincerely extend our thanks to all our esteemed keynote speakers, Professor Anand Pradhan, Professor Anando Mitro, Mr. Abhijit Dasgupta, Mr. Shailendra Jha, Mr. Kuntal Chakraborty, Mr. Abdul Wahid Azad, Ms. Laura Ungar, and Professor Dr. Bula Bhatro, and also our valedictory session speaker, Mr. Snehashish Shur, who will be joining us tomorrow for accepting our invitation despite their extremely busy schedule. We also thank our esteemed moderators, Professor Shubir Dhar, Dr. Reshmi Noshkar, Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey, and Mr. Shujoy Dhar for accepting our invitation to moderate and chair the sessions for these 2 days. And these are all guests, but we must thank our director, Professor Dr. Buroship Dasgupta sir, for his guidance. He is kind enough to chair more than one sessions for these 2 days. And Uh, this also the first session will be moderated by our another colleague Shuman Chakraborty, Professor Shuman Chakraborty. I thank him also. And without the, it will be very unfair not to mention the constant support of our registrar's office, admin and HR department. We could not have arranged the program smoothly. So I extend a warm thanks to all our colleagues from these two departments. And at the end, last but not the least, all our colleagues, I'm not mentioning my dear friend Orindam Basu, who was working day and night for this conclave. Along with him, we were all of there, our two MCs of this program, Professor Jumur Datta Gupta, Professor Atoshi Bhattacharya, and our technical team of Krishnendu Das, Namashi Sharma, Shotyajit Shamanto, Kishore, all of them, they are working, and for these 2 days, they will work day and night, I know. So it will be a huge, if this program comes out as a success, it's a success of our whole team. And of course, the tier students, the students who are the volunteers, they are also working very hard. Our technical team consisting of our students, all the events what we arrange is actually done by the students under the guidance of the faculty members. So I thank our dear students also, and we wish that it will be a grand success. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. With further ado, in just 2 minutes, we are arranging this stage and we will start with the next session. I would now like to invite Professor Arindam Basu on stage to continue with the interactive session, SNU Talk.
So students, we have a very small interactive session here called SNU Talk, where we will be discussing certain pertinent topics related to digitization and our society and education in general. We will have an interactive session. We have experts from different fields, so we want to put them together to have this talk. So can I invite Dr. Anand Pradhan, sir, please? Professor Anando Mitra. Manoj, sir. No, I'll not be sitting. I'll be standing here. Murasip, sir. And Minal ma'am, I think she's gone to Sabah. If you could call Minal ma'am. Okay. So we'll get on with the session. Sir, this is just going to be more or less informal, understanding of digitization. Like we have a lot of undergraduate students also. For them, this digital world is a world of social media. So I have kept the topic for this talk limited to, I've tried to limit it because, so the topic for the SNU talk is how social is social media. How social is social media. So if I put this forward to you, sir, let's be, yeah. So how would you describe in today's reality when we say social media, people gathering there virtually? So do you really think social media is a huge advantage to us, or it's also a deterrent in some way? Your opinion?
Right, right. So first of all, I am a little troubled by the term social media itself. I think that's a little bit of a misnomer. We need to go back and think about much more of a much more of a basic construct, which is community. The idea of community is independent of digitization, independent of all of the technologies. The community is a set of people getting together to have a conversation because they have some commonalities. Maybe they're in the neighborhood, maybe they go to the same church or the same faith system. What we have done, and successfully done, is taken that idea of community and put it on a different platform. And thus, I usually call it not even social media, I call it a digital network. The idea of network is fundamental. Now, once you make it digital, obviously you have gained certain things, which is you've taken out the barriers of time and place. You have lost certain things because you do not need place anymore. And you could be a network just based on your digital device. So that's the plus and minus. We can elaborate on this much more, but I'll shut up.
So that was quite crisp, and so so my question to you is, like, as we of late we have been hearing, you have been a media professional also before you came into academics, so we keep on hearing in on television, seeing on television, reading in papers that youngsters, young people going into depression, going into despite being in a WhatsApp community. Very recently, I heard a girl down south in Bangalore, most probably, she committed suicide. Her parents were absolutely aghast because the night before she had been sending smileys to her mother. When she asked her, "How are you?" she sent smileys, and she said, "Sent hugs emojis." So, and the day after, they see that this girl has consumed sleeping pills and has committed suicide. So, is there, is the gap increasing between the reality and the virtual?
I think, it's a bit complicated, as we say in Facebook language. The relationship status is a bit complicated. It's a bit complex, but certainly, what we are witnessing globally, including India, that what we feel that we are all connected with each other. But this virtual connectivity is not compensating what we know or what we do in real life. So reality and virtual both are completely different world now. And while, generally while traveling in metro, we see most of the people sitting, side by side, but not talking to each other, talking or chatting or, listening to something which is not directly, connected with real people. And that is what, generally these so-called social media platforms, the big tech companies, what they have devised, these are the big corporations. They are running the world. They have done a lot of research to understand our mind, and they are trying to control our mind.
They are trying to, manipulate us. We really don't know that, while this feeling of we are connected, we are part of a community, we are, knowing each other, but the truth is we are not knowing each other. We are not connected really in physical sense or in a community sense, as Professor Anand already said. We are not connected. We are actually, we are living in a virtual world where we share fake emotions, and that is creating a gap. Sometimes, lot of issues are emerging while, we are all going gaga about digitization and digital world and, virtual world. But the truth is, there are so many concerns related to digital world and particularly social media. Globally, democracies are threatened. Autocracies, are, dependent on this whole phenomenon of what we call surveillance capitalism. Uh, these are the concerns I think young generation must, try to understand critically. Uh, you know, I'm not saying that, we should completely ban everything, but we must understand what we are, the kind of things we are dealing with. So we have to be very alert, critical to our environment, and also sometimes, try to understand, uh, what we are, what we think that we are connected, but actually we are not connected. So really meeting real people, talking to each other, understanding each other, uh, expressing our real feeling, that's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Actually, the people up here on the stage, we are all digital migrants, because when we were growing up, blackberries only used to happen on trees. You see, a lot has changed since then. Uh, and taking a cue from what Dr. Pradhan said, guys, digital is such a big influence. If you read the book Revolution 2.0 by Weil Gonim, and the entire Cairo movement, it grew up on a Facebook page. It germinated on a Facebook page and then spread. The self-immolation of Mohammad Bouazizi. So everyone called themselves Bouazizi on and see, that's the power of internet. But having said that, I would now go to Manoj sir. Sir, the PR profession, it has itself gone through a revolution with the digitization. So if you could enlighten the students on how this entire system of PR has transformed in this digital atmosphere.
Listening to Dr. Pradhan, and I would like to add on to that point, the pertinent question that you raised. There's one more thing. I'll give an example of even Sushant Singh Rajput. Millions of followers, millions of followers. But in personal life, we all know what tragedy it happened. Leave that. The latest fad is Father's Day, Mother's Day, and all days, all possible kinds of days. And I tell you, I was having a word with my batchmate yesterday that slowly and steadily they are seeing a new phenomena in Calcutta. Don't take me otherwise. I was born and brought up in this city. এই মাটিতে আমার জন্ম হয়েছে, পড়াশোনা করেছি. They saying it is becoming one of the biggest, retired people city, because a lot of youngsters are migrating to other cities for jobs, and paras after paras. There is no adda culture, because you find only grandchildren and grandparents left behind, because students are searching for new and better careers. Now coming to the question that you have personally asked me, it was far better for me as a PR practitioner when digitization was not at its peak. I would say it is still yet to peak. I don't know what would happen to me at that time. So I run a lot of PR campaign for politicians. Literally it means bread and butter for me. I won't say bread, but a lot of butter for me. If you see my pot belly, so I've gained a lot of weight here, and being total teetotaler, I don't smoke. It's all butter when butter. 24 by 7. When we mean 24 by 7, I do a lot of social media influences management for them. A lot of politicians, they sign an NDA with me, with my company, and they ask us not to give the detail or divulge out the detail. They try to portray as if everything is happening organically. Everything is happening. Mind it, it takes months, I won't say years, for to happen organically, until unless your content is too good or too frivolous. Either it is too wonderful or it is full of crass. I have seen politicians recently. We are having witnessing elections in Bihar. That is Jila Panchayat election, mayor and deputy mayor election. So I got a call 3 days back. I'm managing four, now five clients there from Begusarai, sir. I got a call that deputy mayor candidate is there, and the mandate was कि हमको 30,000 followers अगले 2 दिन में चाहिए. 30,000 followers. और बेगूसराय में जहाँ पर the place where she is fighting election, we did our research and we found out only 48,000 people are having their Facebook account. Only. And prior to that, she had hardly 300 odd friends on the Facebook. I did the Google Analytics check and found out that the maximum comments was 4 or 5 comments, and her likes on her average likes on her post was hardly 40 to 50. I told her, ma'am, that's not possible until unless you pay to buy. I can make it 2 lakhs also. I don't have any issue. You have to pay. She said, I don't have any problem paying. That is for an election which is, Jila Sabhapati and Deputy Mayor and Mayor's election. You also would be aware of this fact that Elon Musk refused to honor the deal with Twitter. He's saying that Twitter has got more than, there was earlier there was an issue of 5% fake followers. Now there is an inside guy who has come up with an issue, says more than 70% people are fake. More than 70%. That's the latest. And he's not honoring. So when it comes to PR, most of my clients say that we want to, on 24th I am organizing, doing the PR for Modi's rally at Mandi in Himachal Pradesh. From now onwards, we have to start to build a campaign as if, lakhs and lakhs of people are reaching there at the venue. The venue's capacity is hardly 50,000. But the kind of photo and imagery that you get, you will feel, oh my God, the entire Himachal Pradesh has reached this. More than 50 to 60 lakhs likes would be there, comments would be there. The biggest casualty, sir, the biggest casualty which we were discussing earlier when we met in presence of you and Dr. Meenal is accuracy. Second, language. Language has gone to dogs. Dogs would also get offended if I say this to use this cliche. Language is the other thing. And third, they want 24 by 7. Even if there is 1 or 2 negative feedback, they want us to delete it. Not to argue with them, but they forget, our politicians and a lot of other people, businessmen, they forget this basic fact that online footprints are, the moment you put anything online, there would be someone who would be taking a screenshot of that. And the moment you delete it, that gives them an opportunity, sir, ye dekhiye, no ullu banayenge. There is, earlier we had time and opportunity to play, to have some tricks or another. But to counsel the clients in clients, if we counsel them, sir, this is not an appropriate time. Because even when we do the posting, there are certain analytics which says that if you do 3 posting in a day, that is good. One is in the morning from 8 to 10, then you do in an afternoon, and then in the evening while you are at your house. Because then you can get more clicks, you can get more positive comments, you can get more likes. The clients don't understand. They want the things to be done on their whims and fancies. That is why you see a lot of backlash, because we as a PR professional, or even as someone who have limited understanding of communication, some bit of strategy, that's not taken for, our advice are not taken. And as sir also said, there is a lack of strategy, a planned strategy. If not A plan, the B plan should be there. Please don't take PR practitioner as only as executor of your whims and fancies or your plans. Take our valuable inputs. You have taken our services. In that, counseling is also a part of the services, and we are there to give you our valuable inputs because we have some better understanding of communication and PR than you. I hope if some of my clients are seeing this broadcast, I'm not penalized, and they take things in the right and honest manner. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just, there's something very interesting that Manoj sir said. I have a very famous, he's a very famous singer and he's a good friend of mine. So we were chatting recently. He said that, Bhai, amar Facebook page, I have got more than 40,000 likes in the last week. Janish, I have employed a new agency. So I said, ki, okay, ekbar someone inside, let him just look at it. Bolu tu that. So I saw, and of those 40,000 likes, around 30,000 were from Latin America and from Africa. These are likes that have been bought at the cheapest rate. So he has got likes from Lima, from Ecuador, from Mexico, from Panama, and from Ghana, and from. I said, "Ki, what are you going to do with this? With you sing traditional Bengali song?" So after that, I don't know what has happened. So this is I will say a systematic rot that is setting in with the coming of digitization that we need to be a little careful of. Digital is important, it's going to be the future, but harnessing it, curating it, and cleansing it, I think these are the 3 things that needs to be done constantly to keep it under control. Otherwise, as we say, Ashwamed ka ghore ki tarah wo chalta rahega and there is no stopping. So with that, I come to Burashiv sir, my teacher at the university. I learned from him. Sir, in education, when you teach, how do you think this hybrid form of education has been has it been a positive impact or a negative impact? When you take classes, how do you feel about it?
Well, before I answer directly your question, the thing is, we were talking about the social media, the impact of social media. Of course, the hybrid form of media has become part the social media, the digital media, and the traditional media. That is what he possibly means by hybrid. But the thing is, let us not misinterpret the media platforms. If you put it into the context, media has always been a part of the propaganda process. If you look back in history, even radio, television, newspapers were part of propaganda in the world wars and everywhere, even in the political battles that we see. So social media being so accessible, becoming part of our life, it will naturally become part of the propaganda. And if you are fooled by the propaganda, it is your fault. So let us not forget, let us not damn social media. It is an instrument, it is a tool. Make use of it properly. And if you do it judiciously, that is a very, very powerful tool. Do it. I don't have a negative impact, but I'm very conscious of what harm it can do. There can be depressions, there can be suicides. If you are put into, I mean, if you are, fooled by the propaganda machinery that it can become. Well, the hybrid part, as I said, I told you, I learned from my seniors in my newspaper office. Uh, well, uh, what is our function? It is our function is to hold the attention of the reader. The rules are the same. Here, when I teach in class in about the digital media, I teach them the SEO process, which is also a method, the key method to draw the attention of the of the audience or the consumer. So there is not much of a difference. You just have to see, you have to connect the dots. That's all. I mean, the thing is, the hybrid media only strengthens the weaknesses and the strengths of the media.
Very aptly put, sir. Now we come to Dr. Minal Parekh. Minal has been one of the biggest propagators and campaigners of the digital form. And if you see the students here today, they are, for lack of a better metaphor, they are toilet ready for the industry. That's because of her initiatives, and that's because of the kind of drive she puts in. Minal, when we say about digital media, the social media platforms, how do you think the social media platforms can be integrated with education? And just one bit of information before she begins. This time, at least there are 3 students who took admission in our department because they follow Minal's Instagram account and the kind of posts she gave on education. And they said, Ki, we want to join here because, ma'am, we follow your Instagram account and we like what you post. So we think this university is going to give us the right kind of, put us on the right track. So that has happened. So Minal, please.
When we started, I'll just come back to when we started SNU, it was like, I have been, following social media very, very closely. And I think that when a change happens in the society, when the youth is changing, please change with the youth. You cannot stay stagnant. You have to change. So in spite of, there are certain things which were new to me, I did not take it as a roadblock, thinking that, okay, this is just meant for the new generation. No, I took it. I learned it, and I was just flowing with. But yes, since I am from media myself, a journalist and an educator, I knew where the flaws were, and hence I kept on checking. The checkpoints are very important, as we are discussing where the checkpoints are. So coming back, when we started SNU, we did not have a Facebook page, we did not have any social media page. So I started all the social media pages for the university, and today all are organic. That is the first thing that I fought for. I said, listen, please don't do inorganic, except for the advertisements that we run. That is for basic admission ads, so that students who are checking their Facebook can know that the admissions are open for this university. Apart from this, all our posts and all our information are organic. So whatever you see on our page, also other pages of Techno India Group, which are other colleges and Ajkal also. So let me just inform that the students today here who are with the Mass Communication and Journalism Department are also part of the Ajkal digital media team. So they are making news, they are uploading news. So at the end of the day, they know that yes, there are checkpoints. It is important. They've made mistake. They've got thrashing for that how could you upload something which is so sensitive. You have to be very careful. So those checkpoints are very important. Social media is there, it's going to be there. This digital outburst is going to be there, and it's going to go worse. So we have to be a part of the system. We cannot change the system, but at the end of the day, fact checking is very important. What fact we are posting or what fact we are giving is very, very important. That the WhatsApp university culture, we have to be very careful and do not pass information which you think you've not cross-checked. Just for fun, please don't do it. And let me tell you, the youth of today is very active yet very, very sensitive. A simple remark on their uh, shape of their body, or probably how they are doing academically, how they are dressing, these things, we used to just take it, oh, mummy papa ne डांट diya, chacha chachi ne डांट diya. Doesn't happen with youth today. They are very sensitive, and there's no harm in being that. If you're sensitive about your body shape, about your gender, about your clothes, good. But then, since the youth is sensitive, since the environment is very sensitive, your usage of social media also has to be very sensitive. So when I post individually, when you were saying, yes, there are parents who came, দিদি আপনার ভিডিওটা দেখলাম খুব ভালো লাগলো. So of course I know that, people are watching me, so I cannot post or say something which, of course should not be fake, just to keep an image, fake image, that I'm an intelligent one, or probably I bring lot of knowledge. But yes, please be honest. That is what I have learned in my life. Honesty is very important. Fake images will break down one day. One day you'll be thrashed. As he said, the negative comments. I do it in my SNU page. There are comments which are very negative. I've hidden them. I do hide them. So when I see that somebody is trolling, or somebody is, has ganged up and trying to troll my post, which is not required. There are certain times when you get trolled just like that, just for fun, people do it. So yeah, we hide, we do delete those comments, so that, it doesn't give a negative impact. So I am happy with how the social media has shaped up, but our job is to make sure that this generation use this effectively and not misuse it. That is it. Thank you, Arindam. That's it from me.
Thank you, Minal. Uh, we will end the session here, and we will take a quick break for say 10 minutes. The students sitting at the back, volunteers, Akash, Ayushi, just lead them to the moot court where the technical session will begin. The students at the back, please head to the moot court, and the students sitting here in front can wait. We have heard from the speakers here. They have, in a span of 25 minutes, given us so much of information, so much of knowledge. I would sum up this session with a line from one of my favorite film directors, Ritik Ghotto. Bhabo, bhaba abhesh karo. Start thinking. If you don't practice thinking, you will invariably take a leap and not look before it. So
I'll just add to that. 2-3 days ago, I posted a poster by a famous writer, that you die the day you don't think and you don't talk. So before saying that, I'll die one day, you're already dying, because you're not thinking, you're not talking. So it's important to express and think.
okay, and I would request one of the volunteers to, after 5 minutes, to take Professor Anando Mitra to the moot court for the technical session. And meanwhile, let us get ready. Sir, if you can please kindly take your seat. Thank you so much, sir. And Abhijit, can we have the this thing on, and also the projector ready at the moot court also, if one of the volunteers can get it done. And I will. The next session will again be conducted by Jhumur here and Otoshi at the moot court. So please take up your respective positions. Thank you so much.
Student, please settle down, please. We are going to start our session 1. Please settle down. Good morning. Now we will begin our technical session. And I would like to invite the keynote speaker, Professor Anand Pradhan from IIMC Delhi. And this session will be chaired and moderated by Professor Shumon Chakraborty of Sister Nivedita University. First, I would like to request our HOD ma'am, Professor Ninal Parekh, to felicitate Professor Shumon Chakraborty. Now I would like to request Professor Chakraborty to carry forward the program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. I feel myself extremely honored and privileged to be the first moderator of the session. And I would like to welcome everyone to this first session of our two-day national conclave. Digital is the new mainstream. And without further ado, I'd just like to invite the first keynote speaker of our program, Professor Anand Pradhan. Professor Pradhan is a doctorate from Benares Hindu University, and he's a professor of journalism and presently the course director of Indian language journalism Hindi of Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi. May I please welcome Dr. Pradhan, please, Professor Pradhan, and please welcome Dr. Pradhan here. Thank you, sir. Sir, yeah, if you want to give your keynote address, please. Yeah. Maybe you can give any short introduction and then during the presentation. Yeah. The floor is yours, sir.
dear students, scholars, faculty members, guests, it's my privilege and honor to be here to interact with all of you. As you know, the topic is digital is the new mainstream. What it means. You know, in the morning session, the opening session, inaugural session, Dr. Das Gupta was trying to explain the idea of mainstream. What is mainstream? Something which is, you know, deciding or influencing, which is basically guiding the whole society and country. That's the mainstream. That is how we understand mainstream. And he was giving, you know, examples of newspapers, mainstream newspapers, like Times of India, Statesman, Telegraph, The Hindu. These are the mainstream newspapers. Similarly, we have mainstream television channels, India Today TV. Before that, there was, you know, Doordarshan. Now we have, you know, India Today TV, NDTV, and there are dozens of such mainstream channels. But there are many others which are not actually mainstream, which are on margins. They're not mainstream. They're not part of the system or the establishment. As you all know, media is described as fourth pillar of the democracy. Fourth state of democracy. The first stage, as you all know, legislature, then judiciary, and then executive, and finally media, which plays important role in society. But this mainstream media, owned by big capital, part of, you know, establishment, influencing the public opinion, because public opinion in modern society or in modern democracies are very, very important. Democracy runs on the basis of public opinion. What you think as a young person, what society think as a young, you know, as a whole, that is crucial, that is important. How governments takes decision, how society is, you know, making choices based on public opinion. This is public opinion on a particular issue, on a particular subject, or on a particular idea. Who forms this opinion? Who creates or formulates this opinion? We think that we are part of that opinion. We belong to that opinion. But who creates? Who is creating that opinion which we subscribe? These mainstream, which are basically part of the establishment, part of the system, they create this public opinion. They manufacture. Actually, the real term, as Noam Chomsky, a very renowned scholar, and I would, you know, recommend, I hope your teachers must be recommending to read his books. So he used the word manufacturing of consent. You know, as a member of society, you know, the mainstream media construct this, you know, consent that what we are thinking and how we are thinking is actually a constructed thing. It's a construct. And mainstream is constructing it. Now, I will not go in detail. Now we are saying that digital is the mainstream. Before that, you know what now we are calling legacy media. Newspapers, television channel, radio station, films, everything is now legacy. Is part of legacy media, traditional media. Now legacy media is slowly losing its, you know, readership, viewership globally. Take the case of, because you are all students of mass communication and journalism, and that's why I am discussing this. Globally, in most of the, you know, developed countries like US, Europe, Australia, Japan, everywhere, newspaper circulation is declining. People like you, young people, they are not reading newspaper in printed form. You may be reading news, but reading news on what we call fourth screen. The first screen was, of course, you know, cinema. The second screen was television. Third screen was this laptop or, you know, computer. And now all the screens have converged in this mobile phone. This is the fourth screen. So you may be accessing news or information on this phone or a smartphone. And because you are not reading newspapers in printed form, which is a very different experience in itself, what we call, you know, reading culture. When you read something in printed form, either book or, you know, newspapers, and what you read in, you know, on digital platforms or digital screen, both experiences are completely different. You may not be, you know, experiencing it personally, but it's a different experience. So whole business of newspapers or television channel depends on what we call attention economy. Your attention is very important. It can be monetized, you know. So what digital is doing, the recent researchers are suggesting that almost in India, I'm talking about India, almost on an average, an Indian is spending around 4.5 hours on their digital phone or mobile phone. 4.5 hours every day. There may be, you know, in most of the smartphones now, you can, you know, check how much time you are spending on your mobile phone. Sometimes many of my students, they say that they are spending almost 8 hours, 9 hours on mobile phone. So when you are spending so much time, actually mobile phone, and on mobile phone there are thousands of apps. According to the recent report by Ernst and Young, which they have prepared for FICCI, Media and Entertainment Report, Indians have downloaded 26 billion apps last year. 26 billion apps. And you are spending your time on those apps constantly. And according to researches, you know, when you go to social media, and most of the time, you know, particularly young generation, young people, age between 13 to 35, they are spending on social media platforms. And these social media platforms, their whole business depends on how much time you are spending on those social media platforms. They are designed, you know, these are, you think that these all apps, most of the apps, and particularly social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, many others, you know, they are free of cost, but they are not free of cost. You are paying by giving your attention to these social media platforms. Their economy, their business depends on how much time you are spending on them. And according to researchers, what is the reason why you are spending so much time on these social media platforms? They call it, they have done a lot of research. It's a research by psychology, marketing, and according to the research, there was a, before advent of social media and digital, there was a, field called in academics, likes studies. Okay. And this like button on most of the social media platforms, these are the designed by their color, their numbers, this like button, everything is designed by, researching thousands and millions of people. And this like button gives you what they call, psychologically dopamine, which is a pleasure, hormone. And because you always in the quest for this dopamine, you always open or keep open your, social media platforms. And whenever you shut it and slowly your dopamine starts decreasing, there is an urge, again to go back and see how many likes you have received or your recent photograph has received or recent comments, you have received. So that constant urge to again and again reopen your mobile phone, pick up. So now number of, mobile phones, they are giving this option that you can check how much time you have spent, how many times you have picked up your phone. And on an average, researchers are suggesting that every 6 or 7 minutes you are, picking up your phone and seeing something must be coming either on WhatsApp or on your social media platform. Some friends may be posting something, some may be commenting something, and that urge, the urge for dopamine, the pleasure hormone, they attract you and, mind you, this Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, these are the platforms, they earn billions of dollar profit. And how they are earning this profit? They are earning this profit through this attention economy. They are attracting your attention. When you are on their platform, they are selling your attention. They are selling you to advertisers. They are basically advertising companies. And now on social media platform, because of the data you are giving, whenever you think that you are connected. And because you are connected, you are constantly leaving your digital footprints. Every site you are visiting, you are leaving your digital footprint. Those sites are, what you call cookies. Those cookies are following you. And then this data collected from millions of, users, cross-referenced, analyzed, and accordingly they know about you. What kind of a person you are. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Everything they are analyzing and they are now targeting you with a very personalized advertisement. So this is just about advertisement. Now think about political messaging. In democracy, please understand, democracy is not digital. It's analog. It's analog because democracy is slow. It's deliberative. It's physical. There are so many things I'm just leaving because I don't have much time. I think I have only 20 to 25 minutes. So they are selling this, and this creating a kind of, situation where algorithms or artificial intelligence is giving the information to you, which according to their own analysis, they know that your political liking, your personal liking, your liking about different things is they have measured it and accordingly they are targeting. Now think about this bubble in which you are now, you know, got by these social media platforms. You are in bubble. You are not exposed to contrary opinion or ideas. And because you are in that, bubble, you are constantly fed by a particular kind of message. You never know what is happening outside that bubble, which is critical, which is different, which is, you may, sometimes you may be, not thinking what may be, correct thing. So that will create huge problem for society. And that is why I would like to mention here few things or would like to warn you while, when this digital came, and now of course, we all agree that this is mainstream. There is no debate about it. But think about the role of mainstream. Actually, when this digital came, and as Arindam Basu was saying, the so-called Arab revolution, and then, in India also we have seen Anna movement, movement against corruption, and there are so many things. So when this digital came, it was thought that it will actually help marginal, those who are at the margin. It will decentralize, the information flow. It will allow every citizen or empower every citizen to express themselves. That was the promise. That was the promise from digital, that it will empower every citizen, it will open, it will make everything transparent, it will democratize whole, information flow, it will, open the process of dialogue. But it's not dialogue. It's now one-way communication. It's basically you're creating bubbles or filter bubbles, and overall, the manipulation. So this attention economy, or the what we call, you maybe, some of you may have read his book, Yuval Noah Harari, a very excellent, writer, thinker. He said, he used the word dataism. You must be listening these days, data is the big oil or a new oil. Actually, data is new oil. It's so important. And we all are, all individuals are reduced to data. So he called it as a dataism. So everything is now data. Data and algorithm is targeting you according to your preferences and trying to capture and manipulate the decision making. Dataism is for each of us to be reduced to a unique, predictable, and targetable data point. So you are not individual, you are just data. And because you are just data, what you think, what are your real preferences is immaterial. Nobody cares about it. So here I would like to suggest few things. Now globally world is talking. Digital detoxification. Slowing down. Instead of smartphone, now people are talking about fair phone. Do we really need smartphones, or do we need fair phone? Should we also think about data detoxification or digital detoxification? Because ultimately it's making whole environment very toxic. I'm not talking about, the kind of hate is spread on social media platforms or on digital. We also know at the problem of fake news or disinformation or misinformation, propaganda is spread by very organized forces at industrial scale. It's very difficult for individuals to deal with it. It's very difficult for community to deal with this much of information which is spread through this pipelines, the so-called social media platforms. Most of the societies are actually struggling to deal with how to regulate. This is the most important issue these days globally. How to regulate social media platforms, how to regulate digital. Otherwise, it's basically destroying societies, it's destroying, democracies. The promise, this digital initially made that it will make every citizen empowered, it will make things democratic. It is not making it. And as a, young citizens, I would recommend all of you to please think about it critically. It's important. Let me tell you, sometimes what we do very innocently. You must have heard, or read stories about Chandigarh University, the recent case. The kind of moral panic it has created. It's an ethical question. I teach my students ethics. Now it's an ethical question. The society is actually, unable to decide what to do with this. On the one hand, if you are giving, think about it. If you are giving a smartphone or digital phones or digital, connection to young people or to children, how they are using, if they don't know how to use it. What we call media literacy is important. Digital literacy is important. It's very important for all of us as a teachers, faculty members, to teach our students, to train them, to develop or inculcate this critical digital understanding, how to use phones or how to use digital, how to use social media, and what should be our limit. Otherwise, what we are witnessing in number of places, societies or communities are making decisions, or families are making decisions not to give phone to their young children. This is another, extreme. On the one hand, there is extreme, and now we are witnessing another extreme. So it's a ethical dilemma. How to deal with this situation? So here, while we are all, going gaga about, the digital and its mainstream and how it is transforming society, of course it's transforming society. Of course, it's making our life easier. It's true. But we should also consider and think about its consequences and how it is changing our mind, how it is changing our relationship, how it is changing our political thinking, social thinking, our interaction within the family, within the society, within the, friends. Everything is in turmoil and we all have to think about it. So here I would like to conclude, and after, the paper presentation, if you have any question, and I personally think it should not be one-way communication. It should not be a lecturing media. Economist magazine published a cover story, I think 15 years back, when newspapers were dying in the US and in most of the European society. The cover story, the title of the cover story was, "Who Killed the Newspapers?" And in that article, Economist magazine or their editors wrote that, young generation is not liking newspapers or magazines or legacy media because they think that it's a lecturing media. Editors are always lecturing, giving how society or politicians or government should behave or act. Now, young generation or citizens, they want communication, they want dialogue at equal level. They don't want lecturing media. So I personally think that you should also get chance to ask question, ask critical question. You may not agree with me what I am saying. I could have gone on and on about giving you examples and facts and data about why this has become mainstream. But I thought let's use this opportunity or 25 minutes or half an hour with you to share my concerns about digital and how it is unfolding. It is still unfolding. We are, most of the societies are actually struggling how to deal with it and how to manage it. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
What a wonderful, wonderful keynote speech. Well, obviously, sir, um, it would be a two-way communication, but we obviously need, these kinds of introductions from you so that, we get some guidance. Is there any burning question which you would like to ask, sir? Right. If there is none, I'd just like to sum up what Sir has wanted to say. And he obviously started the discussion with the definition of what mainstream is, and then he referred to the theory of Noam Chomsky. And obviously, we know that media creates, it's a social construct. So he gave that kind of reference that it's a social construct, and the social media also creates a kind of a new social construct. I was just thinking about, sir, when you mentioned about that fourth screen and the convergence of all screens and all, I was just thinking about the editorial page of The Hindu, which was revamped 2 days back. And because they revamped it, because in their policies, in the second page, that they have mentioned that people are not reading just the newspaper in just one form, but rather they are actually looking at newspaper in myriad forms. The news is not just in the newspapers, and the young generations are not just reading the newspapers in the newspaper format. They are also reading the newspapers in other formats which they think as the mainstream. And obviously, the spending time. I didn't know that Facebook do also have a time, the screen time that you spend on Facebook. There is a feature on Facebook, which I actually discovered yesterday, that there is a feature there. And the like studies and dopamine, wonderful, sir. Thank you so much. I really like that thing that when you said that democracy is slow, well, it is, but also the democracy is all about governance, and it's, we elect the government through the democratic process, and it is the e-governance that's going to be the next thing in the next 10 or 20 years down the line. We would probably be looking at everything in the governance which would be digital. So I would like to invite our first presenter, Sadia Azim, who is a research scholar at our own university, and she's the COO of Bangla Sahitya Kendros of West Bengal government's E-wing of Government of West Bengal. And she's going to present her paper on digital governance, the state of content control in India. Let me just say that the presenters do get about 15 minutes for their presentations, and then we would be opening up for about 2-3 minutes for burning questions, and then after the entire session we'll be having somewhat around 5-10 minutes of a complete question answer for the entire panel, right? Madam Shadi Azim, thank you so much. The virtual floor, the first floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity and good afternoon or good morning, everyone. We are still not in the afternoon. So, thank you. It's really a great opportunity. I am basically going to talk about digital governance. And that I'm doing so is because despite being a communication professional, I'm a public policy professional and I am working with governments. I have worked with the US government before and now I'm working with the state government here. And, like we are basically designing the entire conversation, as our previous eminent speaker was basically talking about, that how the societies are transforming, how the digital is taking mainstream, but also causing disruption. This is actually an era of disruption. We are learning, relearning, settling down, and trying to understand that whether this disruption is for the good or not. So, but my presentation is basically not to discuss about whether we are in a good state or in a bad state. I am going to talk about where we are and how are we here. So let's begin. This is basically about the state of content control in India, and my this presentation is concentrating on India. What are our laws? Basically, But before I start, I want to give you a kind of understanding which the famous communication theorist from Canada, most of you must be knowing, all these communication experts know, that we talk about that Marshall McLuhan, he says that the medium is the message. So it is important that you want to give a message which social media and the social media content or our digital content is, but it is also important to understand that what is the medium that we are using. And here, what I'm basically, basically this presentation will have some of the keywords which you will see here. Most of you know about it, but we are going to talk about, is internet that medium which is providing digital content to you? So, the first thing is about internet shutdowns. So you know that if you are shut out or shut down, so what is, what's going to happen to the digital content what people are producing? Second is why that is important, because that's the lifeline to the digital content. Most of you must be knowing and hearing it in mainstream newspaper or through the digital medium that the government has blocked so many channels. They are blocking, they are banning. That used to happen again in mainstream when they read books or newspaper. Even that was happening at that particular point of time. That's also happening right now in the form of digital content. So, because the lifeline of digital content is the internet, and if the internet is shut down, so what happens? And why that is, and how does the state control that medium? So, we are basically talking about the state control of the medium. So, and as we discuss, is digital the new mainstream? We should be mindful of whether the medium which we are using, which is internet, is universally accessible to people or not. And if it is not, despite the fact that the digital medium, I will really agree to the point that digital medium is the mainstream and it is democratizing heavily, because yes, the marginal now who were, earlier in the margins have the opportunity to basically come mainstream. But the point is, again, this is debatable. We need to delve deep to understand whether that margin which we were talking about should be mainstream or not, or should people have democracy is also about equal opportunity, and the internet or the digital medium provides that opportunity. I agree with my previous speaker when he was talking about that newspapers or all the books or all, it created a kind of divide in the sense it was definitely lecturing the youth. Here, the youth has an opportunity to question back. So, yes, the digital medium is democratizing, but whether it is bringing the digital content to mainstream or not is the question. And we will talk about is why, that is debatable is again the medium is the internet, and which is coming, which is, being sourced to you through, state control. We must also see some of these figures that India accounts for about 67% of the total recorded internet shutdowns worldwide. Why is it so? We are not going to discuss that. This is it. That's what I want to bring out here. What is an internet shutdown? Is the suspension of internet services, which provides your digital content to you, and that is being ordered by the state. Internet service providers turn off. What happens? So this is very important. Like, while the state controls the internet, the providers are actually private entities. So internet service providers turn off the cellular networks, blocking internet services in a specified area. And that's the easiest. So you would be surprised to know that since 2018, India has bagged the title. I think, it's not visible, but the title is important, and the title says the shutdown capital of the world. I think most of you must have actually heard it, read it in newspapers. This happened, and we were called the internet, capital of the world. This is a little older data, but from India today, so you would understand that this is how we look and how many times in 2021. These figures are from 2021. So, this many number of shutdowns happen in India. And so censorship, content regulation, information control, connectivity failure, data snooping, and isolation from the outside world are the essential components of a government's falling into digital authoritarianism. You would see that an internet shutdown is an all-in-one tool that achieves ultimate control in a single and a quick action. So they can control your content immediately through one single action. We will go to the content part also, but I would first want you to understand that how, if the lifeline to the digital content is controlled, you are just shut out. This, till now we have about 683 total shutdowns, and 66 times it has happened in 2022 itself. This is how you would look. So, our home minister in the Rajya Sabha in 2019, when they cut off, when internet was shut down in Jammu and Kashmir, and that becomes important due to whatever reasons, he made, a speech in the Rajya Sabha where he said the internet is necessary, but national security is paramount, which is important to understand, because here comes in the debate as to what kind of content is basically influencing people, and should the government have a control on the, influence propaganda part or not. So the content radar is this, the Information Technology Act, which is, of 2000, IT Act. This was amended in 2008. Like in 2000, this act actually gave you the freedom and access to internet. But in 2008, it gave, exceptions to intermediaries. It said that who are intermediaries? They are basically those content creators with registered users in India who have a certain, who are above a certain notified threshold. They have good number of users, they are influencers, people read them. Even if their following might not look very remarkable in terms of the population of the country, but they are very important, because in a particular specified area, they make an influence and they can form an opinion, a public opinion. So the IT intermediary guideline rules in 20 2011 were again framed under the IT Act 2000, explaining the due diligence mandatory requirements for intermediaries to claim an exception. Means, why should they be exempted from not being, uh, not being scrutinized by the government? And why should the government not take a control of the content creators? Because they say that the internet is free and the content, like everybody is free to create that content, but whether it is valuable content or not, whether that should be scrutinized, that is still being debatable. And but the most important thing which came in was last year, which is February 25th, 2021. Again, the intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code was amended. And, and it replaced the 2011 guidelines. What did they replace in it? They replaced, that some more of this content which was being created related to prevalence of child pornography or content depicting sexual violence, spread of fake news, and the misuse of social media, because that becomes very important. It is debatable whether the government should have, control on the social media or not. If not, what happens to information or the content which is created every day, but actually, influencing people in the wrong way? Influencing people to a level of, creating public disorder, violence, turbulence in a society. So what should the government do and how can they control it? That is being debated. Content regulation for the online publishers, OTT and news portals, it came in because of their lack of transparency. Who is creating, nobody knows. Whether who is sharing, they don't know. Whether that is, that's the rightful information or not, that's also being, no one knows about it. How do you verify? Accountability of the digital platforms were also being, considered by the government, and the safeguards for the users, like what happened, as our previous speaker mentioned about the Chandigarh University issues, something like that there's content which is created, which is available on the internet. Now, how do you safeguard the how the user is being safeguarded from that kind of content? So, the reason was violative content shared on social media. Content makers who were already booked or being investigated by the government was also creating, that particular content still remains on the digital platforms and it keeps on moving on. So how do you stop it? These were some of the reasons. Now, in my particular, study, I studied YouTube channels because last year, most of the content which was taken down was from YouTube. And why was it taken down from the YouTube? Because of its violative content. And, and many of the social media channels, they were not the creators. The YouTube was actually creating it and it was being shared on social media into different platforms. Sorry, just a second. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this. Just a second. And so most of the time it was also seen that many of the regular offenders were not complying to the government laws, which they should ideally, but because the internet is, and in the previous discussions you could have seen that many of the likes or many of the comments were basically coming in from different countries, different VPNs. So people did not know, what is the network which is being used. And this is the state, what I'm trying to apprise you of, that here we are now. Whether this is right, whether the state control is right or not, we are not debating at this point. Like when the government formulated the rules, these were the issues like unity of the country, friendly relations with your, neighboring countries, public order, sovereignty of the country, uh, or prevents an investigation. So some of the investigations are already on, but the social media narrative actually builds a kind of, again, an influence on an ongoing investigation. And these are some of the things why they would take down notices. Uh, the new guidelines from February 21, 2020, 2021, which says that retaining the requirements of the rules of the government, which was from 2011, they modified the categories of the content, and that users are not allowed to upload and share. So the categories broadly says about issues, but do not mention exactly on what should be stopped and what should not. So you would be surprised to see that it's not a universal ban. One person saying a certain violative thing is okay, but, and that's a government's prerogative. So, somebody saying something at one place is okay, but the same thing might be violative in the other place, and the government can take action. There are stricter timelines and action against content creators, for the violation. Now, this becomes very important. This was basically the amendment which was done in 2021, that to identify the first originator of the content. And here the first must the SSMI, which is significant social media intermediary, must identify the first originator. So now it is punishable to share even. You might not be the creator, but if you are sharing it, and you're not able to, and all these, OTT platforms or maybe news portals, if they are just using somebody else's content, they are sharing it, they might, and they're not able to identify the original creator, they might get into problems. When required by the order of a court or the competent authority under the IT Act. And when orders are issued on specified grounds, even then, when the content is shared, it is violative, and that might put the portal or the platform at risk. So you would see that many people in Twitter, it is not the original creator, but they are using Twitter handles to basically, share violative contents, and they get into trouble. So these are some of the things. What are the technology measures which the SSMIs, like the portals or the platforms, should be using? Is they should be able to identify, through their system, content depicting child abuse and rape, information that is identical to the information previously blocked upon by a court or order, and the user-centric requirements are voluntary identification, and the verification mechanism to check grievances. They should be able to, that those platforms should be able to check grievances of the users if they are basically there. There should be explanation and notice where the SSMI blocks the user's content on their own accord. Just a second. This is, I want to tell you why this becomes important. Because if you do an audience segmentation of 10 channels, which was blocked in, like last April, you would see that they have together about, 25 lakh subscribers. So these are the channels which created violative content, which were banned by the government, but see the amount of views and the, subscribers. So some of the common ban features are, you would see that, on your phone, or if you are, checking that site, you would see it will be written like it was not available in your country. That means those channels are operational, but not available in India. 75% of the channels were operating either from Pakistan or POK, or most of, like the other people are creating the content, but your platform or the platform which you are probably, using are sharing it. They spread disinformation, and surprisingly they are operated by the same group of people. You can have multiple channels. That's basically the reason. So which one to stop and which one not to? uh, so and usually what happens is the government keeps a tab on these channels, on these channels, and then over a period of time, for the repeated offenses, they are basically stopped. They are banned. Some of the code of ethics which should be followed is, classify content which should be age appropriate. There should be be mindful of the India's multiple races, religion before featuring your beliefs. When you're talking, you must be really mindful of that and make content available. This is what they say. So here you would see the word cloud, and some of these words are the search words which were actually under the radar, and the government was actually seeing that how these words are used. Like, how does the government basically look into which content is going to be violative? So there are some of the search keyword mechanism, and if you trace it, the government is able to find out. So this is it. Thank you. Thank you, and I'm happy that you all gave this time to basically listen to something which might not be as interesting, but probably we should be mindful of when we are creating content for the digital platforms.
Thank you so much. Can we have a very big round of applause? I'd like to thank Sadia Azim for such a wonderful talk. Well, obviously, the talk reminded us of our very early days of studies, the Article 19 of our Constitution, which gives us the freedom of expression, but also it gives us, it gives the government the opportunity for a reasonable restriction of that freedom of speech. And there has been numerous debates, probably for the last 50 years or so, 50 to 75 years or so, about whether the restriction was reasonable or not. And obviously, madam, you started with the very point of digital shutdown and how the digital shutdown really affects us and the way we work. And it, took us to those days of, early studies that Marshall McLuhan's comment that medium is the new message and medium is the message and all this. Is there any burning question? I think the talk has, obviously gave us, yeah, sorry, please, yeah.
I have been from Calcutta, in fact, Howrah. So my constituency has experienced a lot of, a polarization between Hindu and Muslim community, and there has been a lot of shutdown, internet
Right,
shutdown.
right.
So what advice do you give to the government of West Bengal?
So,
And does it solve the problem?
see, the shutdowns are basically decided by the local administration, because when they can't do anything else, and you know how wild and how free is the content creators, the digital medium, and the internet, which is basically giving the opportunity to reach to everyone. Now the point is, at this point, we do not have a very clear control. The government cannot control the internet, as cannot control the digital medium. They cannot control the content, because everyone has got an opinion. You have this platform and you have the medium, the internet, to basically share it. Wrong information, violative content. So the point comes back to, what should the government do? And as I told you, that it is internet shutdown is one in all tools. What you can do immediately is just shut the internet, shut the medium, so that nobody can talk to each other. Nobody can tell their opinion. why those opinion, like there are two aspects to it. One is the medium. The government is using the easiest medium, which is basically the internet shutdown. But the government is not able to control the making, the creation of the digital content. And why is that coming in? There are various reasons for it. Various reasons is we all come, this platform, this medium has given you the liberty to make yourself heard. It is not a one-way communication as we were seeing. This is true that the digital divide, basically some people are skilled, and you would be surprised that my research is basically on the digital skills. Whether it is a one-way communication or it is basically, like equipping everybody. It is giving the opportunity, internet and the digital medium is giving the opportunity to let your points, reach out to more people. But whether they are skilling you to create the right kind of content or not, that is still debatable. We haven't reached to that point. So when you say what advice I'm giving, the shortcut advice is internet shutdown, because you can't do, India is a very massive country and you can't afford the kind of, violence or probably any sort of long impacting, like damage to the harmony or to the public order of the country. So you can't afford to do that. That's one reason why the government does it. Now, the second reason is how gradually and over a period of time we can stabilize with our content creation, with our own beliefs and what we are posting, and how responsibly as citizens, as adults of the country, as responsible citizens, we create content which doesn't, actually disturb public order.
I think this, what she wanted to mention, that if medium is the message, if you shut the medium, there will be no message. Okay. So, thank you so much for such a wonderful talk. And can we have a very big round of applause for the presenter? Please? Thank you. Our next presenter is Professor Sujata Mukhopadhyay, who is an assistant professor at Hiralal Mojumdar Memorial College for Women, and she's going to speak on transformation of global cultural analytic, new perspectives of digital communication in India.
It's an absolute pleasure for me to stand here at this podium, and I thank earnestly the organizers of National Media Enclave to give me an opportunity to present my paper. Now, as you can see, the paper is titled as Transformation of Global Cultural Analytics, New Perspectives of Digital Communication in India. Now, so these are high sounding jargons, and as I can see students over here, I'll try to make my lecture as easy and understandable as possible. Now, most of you over here are users of Facebook or any other platforms of social media. What I want to discuss here is something for you that can make you ponder. Now see, when you are using social media like Facebook, or you're using WhatsApp, or you're, logging into Instagram, which you commonly call Insta. I think most of you call it Insta, right? So when you're logging into that, you're actually part of a digital community. Or rather, I can say you're becoming a part of a niche digital community who is using a certain medium to spread content. Now, we are all digital citizens here, and we are using these social media platforms to spread our content. But in the process, what is happening is we are creating a sort of culture which is also coexisting with the traditional notion of culture that we have. Now, the question of my research paper is to find out what is this new digital culture about, and what is this niche audience who are creating this culture in which the most part is of the youth, that is you, and whether this niche global culture, niche digital culture is actually setting a new standard for global cultural transmission. Now, you can see what exactly is happening when you are using the new social media platforms. Most of you students here are unconsciously using the social media platforms, but as my previous speaker spoke about digital literacy, my endeavor here is to make you understand the medium that you're using and make you a little bit literate about the different social media platforms and what content you are spreading so that you can understand the limitations and where you should stop. So basically, in my research paper, my objective is to study and identify the digital citizens' different beliefs. That is what content you're spreading through social media, and to study and analyze to what extent and how, the above mentioned factors are contributing to a new digital culture. This is not moving. Now, I think most of you students are not much versed with research methodology, but just, I'll give you a little bit of understanding. I have done this research paper based on my usage of the different social media platforms. I'm there on Facebook and I'm there on Instagram. I'm also there in WhatsApp and LinkedIn. So these different social media platforms have helped me to observe certain things which I've put forth in my research paper. And in my secondary analysis, I've taken the help of books and documents and PDFs to establish my research paper. Now, my basic point is to understand whether we have already moved on into the postmodern platform as far as cultural dissemination is concerned. What I mean by the postmodern phenomenon in culture is that we are living in hybrid times. When we are talking about the Durga Puja, we all know that we are going to celebrate the Durga Puja which is coming, and we will be giving our Anjali, which is part of our traditional culture. But there are people who will be, giving their pujas from abroad in a digitized manner. So there has been a transgression of boundaries, which we call the postmodern phenomenon of cultural dissemination. And my point is to see what this culture is giving us and whether this culture that is especially being spread by the youth is setting some kind of new digital cultural formation. So here I have certain acronyms. I have used certain acronyms, cyber acronyms, and you must be aware of these terminologies called bullying and trolling. And I will be talking about some of these, though not full because I don't have that much time. So what I'll do is I'll talk about some of these acronyms and, tell you how this can contribute to a new digital culture. So as you know, we talk about Facebook, and most of you especially say, are you on FB? Isn't it? We don't say, are you on Facebook? We say, are you on are you on FB? Are you on Insta? And then, if something happens, we say, OMG, right? We don't say, oh my God anymore. So what is happening? This particular cultural phenomenon, which has emerged in the digital format, is now transgressing into our own traditional cultural beliefs. And here I have presented some of these acronyms which you use in your daily lives. I'll tell you some of them. Like IDK is I don't know, IKR is I know right, ILY is as usual I love you, and LOL, that is laughing out loud. So you are using these acronyms every day and setting new parameters of digital culture, which is actually also transgressing into the traditional cultural patterns when you're using these acronyms in your daily lives. Now, this is again another cultural phenomenon that is emerging in the digital format, that is cyber slangs. You must be, aware of these because we have this thing called epic fail, right? When earlier we used to say if someone is failing in doing something, we used to say, oh, what a failure. Now what do we say? Oh, he's an epic fail. And if someone is stupid, we tell him he's Pro Max or, Max Pro Light. These are the terminologies that we have coined, rather you people have coined. And then instead of family, now we're using the word fam. And, then you have crush it. Like if you want to, if someone is doing something very stupid, you say that he has crushed the entire thing. So these are the new terminologies. And I could have, actually spoken about the theoretical basics behind this, but I see students mostly, so I'll just stick to, the basics. Okay, so now I come to another cultural phenomenon, as you all must be knowing, and even I know, it's the selfie culture, right? So we click around 50 to 60 photographs, and out of that, we take out one or two, and then we filter it, we edit it, and then we post it on Facebook. And then again, as Sir said, we wait for the likes. How many likes are there? From time to time, we open our Facebook and we see how many likes it has got. So this selfie culture has been analyzed by certain communication scholars who are now also dealing with terms like selfie, dual fee, group fee. These are new terminologies, new cultural terminologies that is emerging in the digital platforms. Now you also have social media stories. So there must be many of you who keep on scrolling through the reels or scrolling through the stories, right? Right? So here you can see in Snapchat, we have stories. In Instagram, rather Insta, we have reels and stories. In Facebook, you have stories. In Skype, you have highlights. In YouTube, you have reels and shorts. And I myself can vouch for the fact that when I have nothing else to do, I keep on scrolling through the shorts and through the reels, which has become very, very like dopamine to me. Okay. Again, as my previous speaker mentioned, we have seen live streaming of suicides. Have any of you seen it on Facebook or on any other social media platforms? Live streaming suicides. It has taken a very dramatic turn. People who are, suffering from some kind of depression and who want to commit suicide are doing it live. And there are Facebook and other social media fraternity who are provoking him to do that, right? And there are very few people who actually call the police to help this person. Most of the people are enjoying this fact, especially the live streaming of suicides. Then comes hashtag activism, the Shahbag movement, right? And all other movements that we have seen. Now, in this regard, there is something which I want to say. Most of my previous speakers have said that the social media platforms have become very toxic. But I would also like to say that if you're properly literate about this social media, then you can actually achieve your targets. Like, you can light a fire from a very small, what we say, স্ফুলিঙ্গ থেকে আগুন তৈরি করা যেতে পারে. I'll just try to wrap up because attention span is also very short, because this is again the new digital culture. You can, just find out, you can get my PowerPoint presentation from Arindam sir if you want, and you can go into the details. I'll just talk about geotagging, like people checking into hotels, people checking into resorts, and letting the public know about it. So this is again a new form of culture where whatever you're doing, you're writing that on Facebook. I'm checking into this new relationship status, engaged, life events, etc. Clickbait journalism, most of you know. What is clickbait journalism? Clickbait journalism is a form of journalism where you give a very misleading headline. Salman Khan ne ye kya kiya? That's the headline. And when you see the content, you see the content is something totally different that is used to engage you, to get your attention, and to get your digital footprint onto a certain page. Influencer, most of you know, the influencers are there, and most of the brands who have ventured into social media marketing are using the influencers to spread message about their products. And you have the stan culture. This terminology was first used by Eminem, and he said that this is, you must be knowing about the names, the iconic names. If you like Taylor Swift, then you become a Swiftie, right? If you like a certain celebrity, you become, let's say, SRKian, right? Gangulian. So these are the stan culture. Cancel culture is something very important. We have seen that in Lal Singh Chadda, right? So if you don't want, you can actually ban it. You don't want to see it, you cancel it. That's a new culture which has emerged in the digital platforms, which is called cancel culture. And lastly, the social media, challenges, 10-year challenges, what you used to look like 10 years ago, how you look like now. Then you have the Dalgona coffee challenge. Most of you must be knowing during the corona crisis, how to make Dalgona coffee. So these are the new challenges which has emerged in the digital cultural formats. The findings you can just go through if you see my PowerPoint presentation from Orindam sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can, can we have a very big round of applause for such a fantastic presentation? Thank you. There, any question, burning question? I have one. Right. No, what Madam actually presented, I think, gave us some, very important standpoints about the way the content shared and how digital culture is evolving. And OMG. Right. Yes. And you mentioned about the selfie culture and how the selfie culture evolved. I can, just that reminded me of the front page of every newspaper almost in India, which presented the would-be Prime Minister at that time, Narendra Modi's photograph with the selfie and the logo. And you mentioned about the suicides and all, unfortunately, but it obviously reminded me of the Blue Whale game. Yes. That was there. And cancel culture, obviously, that has come to India, but that was there for quite some time in the Western world. For example, J.K. Rowling was, very recently was part of the cancel culture because of her comments on some things about the LGBT movements and all. So, Madam, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for such a engaging session. And I would just like to open up for the burning questions, please. I'll just one small anecdote and one small question. And one anecdote is a young boy just sees his father on Facebook, and by impulse he writes WTF. So father's absolutely scandalized. He says, "What have you written?" He said, "Father, I wrote, welcome to Facebook." So that's a dominant culture that we are experiencing. So I just wanted you to just this. By the way, this was a brilliant presentation. Just add a little bit how this culture influence has also gone into activism. If you could just give 2 sentences on that, how this culture influence has also taken up activism, the hashtag, and serious activism coming with hashtags. So if you could just...
One small, flick of fire can create a viral content. That is exactly what happens when you make a content viral. So one maybe small thing, something very small happened in a very remote place. And then here's where citizen journalism also comes in. Someone clicks a picture and, writes a short sentence on that, or maybe 2 sentences on that. And then that becomes viral for some reason or the other. And then, from there, the next day, you will find so many reports being generated from traditional newspapers or online portals, and gradually these become viral. So after they become viral, most of the time what happens is these, if they are going against the government especially, these lead to activism. This is how we had the Nirbhaya movement. This is how we had the Shabab movement, right? We had the Black Lives Matter, as you have seen globally. So this is how activism starts, and then, that flares up. Then there are other factors also which come into force, like the political system, the administration, the local, everything comes in, and that creates a force which creates, movement later.
Thank you. Huh? Okay.
Thank you for the presentation, ma'am. I have a small question, ma'am. You mentioned cancel culture, but most of the times, cancel culture is really harmful, obviously. But do you think there is a part of cancel culture that is really that is helpful for influencers or people who with a mass audience, that they can behave, they know what to say, or they know what things that affect people and what things don't? Like, Is cancel culture anyway helpful?
Oh yes, it's a big eye opener. As you can relate it to the incident of Rupamkar Bagchi, right? After the death of KK, he made a small comment, otherwise a small comment, but what he, did not understand was the importance of the media, the magnitude of comments that it would create. And that what happened? He lost that contract with Mio Amore, that song, he lost it. The film which he was doing in Orissa at that time, even that has been stalled for some time. So, what he said in the last interview which I saw, he said, আমার এটা করাই উচিত হয়নি, আমি মিডিয়ামটাকে বুঝতে পারিনি। আমি একটা ক্ষণিকের একটা সেন্টিমেন্টকে বলে ফেলেছি, and that created havoc in his life. So yes, it's an eye opener.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right, and most of it, you students, you should be very, very cautious when you're writing something on Facebook. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Can we have a very big round of applause for the presenter? Thank you so much. Well, obviously, Arindam da, tomar question, I just wanted to say that when you're coming to SNU from Chindigata, you would see on your right side there is a restaurant called WTF, which is actually run by a friend of us, and it's actually called Where is the Food? Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah. French Connection UK, of course. And the thing is that they do not change it in France, and they do not change it in the United States as well. You know?
Even after Monday and Tuesday, the calendar also says WTF, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Exactly. Well, we didn't think that way, did we? Right. I think this actually connects to our old, the first presenter, Sadia Azim's presentation, that how much control the government should have on this and how much we should speak. So it's whether the control that is on us and whether it's the control that's on the government. But there is also another part of this digital as the new mainstream. For example, the way the business is working, and how this digital medium is affecting or influencing them. Say, for example, I run we have about 4 businesses, and all of them have digital presences, and some of the businesses are actually getting phone calls only from the digital presence that we have. It has got an enormous influence, and for that we have our last presenter today, social media as a tool for promoting local businesses. And may we please welcome Sujata Pal, who is a research scholar at Calcutta University, for a presentation on social media as a tool for promoting local businesses. Madam Pal, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my paper. I'm Shujata Paul, Research Scholar of University of Calcutta. My topic of the presentation is Social Media as a Tool for Promoting Local Business. Introduction. Internet is the key for communication, and nowadays it is open to all, and internet changes the style and pattern of the communication. Social sites work as a bridge in between consumers and producers. Social media changes the marketing patterns also, and the public relations strategies, advertisement process, sales promotion techniques get a new dimension with the help of these social sites. Small business owners use social media to promote their product. Even any new company has to depend on social media to launch their product. At the present age, small business and the whole process is without any charge. So it is so much acceptable for the business owners also. There are no geographical boundaries, so anyone can disseminate information and sell their products. The social media promote the selling process as a two-way communication process, because here we can get the instant feedback. The study area is based on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. The attempt will analyze the perspectives of consumers, the importance of social media to empower women, and changing the selling and buying pattern, and most importantly, change in the marketing strategy. Facebook. Now, nowadays we are very much familiar with the Facebook platform, and it is very much user-friendly platform. And Facebook is most important tool for promoting online business. And anyone can sell their products through this platform. And here we get a live option where a business owner can go live and sell their products. At the same time, there are marketplace options also where one can sell their product, and who want to buy something, they can search for according to their need. Next, we have Instagram. Instagram is also more or less same platform like Facebook, where Instagram has 1 billion users monthly. In Instagram, the process is same, but here we can get some paid promotions and non-paid promotions. That is basically called as sponsored ad and non-sponsored ad. And local business owners can collaborate with those persons who have a good number of followers, and with the help of that, they can promote their product. WhatsApp. WhatsApp is also a very good platform, but the exposure of this platform is very less, because one person can disseminate the information within their contact list. So it is, with the help of this platform, one can one can demonstrate their product. At the same time, they can explore the market, and it is very much friendly sites, so anyone can access the platform. Business exposure through the social media. Local business owners get a major exposure from the platform, and social media plays a pivotal role for the job opportunities. Many companies use social media for hiring people. Corporates are using social media like Twitter and Facebook for hiring the people, and they can communicate with the talented and targeted candidates. Social media also work as a reputation management agent. It helps the company to maintain their reputation as well as to establish their brand value. Social media is a vital part for promoting the product and to create a marketing strategy. Promoting product through social media that is cost effective as well as it is time saving. Social media helps the product adoption ratio, and it helps the small scale business industry to increase their product adoption. And it is a medium where we get the infotainment. That means it gives us the information, at the same time it entertains us. And it is a sharing and targeting process, because here business owners can share the details about the product like pictures, videos, and descriptions. And at the same place, they can know about their consumers' choice, and that's how they can target their customers and explore their business. Entertainment and earning. Entertainment and earning is a very important factor for social media, because it entertains us. At the same time, one can get exposure for earning from their home. These sites entertain people. At the same time, it is an umbrella where have different small shops, and it is a place which has multiple roles in our life, and it is the platform for earning from home. Women empowerment. The social sites have a deep impact on the economy. Through the social sites, women business owners can sell their products as well as they can get feedback from the same platform. There are lots of female entrepreneurs who choose social media to promote their product. Like Aditi Gupta, co-founder managing partner at Menstrupedia, they also promote their product through the social media. There are many more successful women who choose that platform to promote their product. The expansion of the social media is from local to global. So if a woman is sincere enough, then she can explore the market and empower herself. And for the whole socio-economic development, the empowerment of women is very much important factor. Change in marketing strategy. Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp changes the marketing strategy and the pattern of targeting the market. Facebook has 1 billion active users, and the world rate of social penetration reached 49% in 2020. The traditional media, the marketing strategy is time consuming and cost effective. But in social sites, it is so much easy, and receiving the feedback is very much instant, and the platform is so much user friendly. Search engines also played a pivotal role for the marketing process, and the interaction with the customers is so much easy. So targeting the market is so much easy factor through these social sites. And through the social sites, we can connect with the teenage, and we can know about the latest trends and fashions, and according to that we can target and strategize our marketing strategies. Public relations strategies. For local business, there are no PR professionals, but the business owners maintain the whole thing. It is an open public sphere where people participate, communicate, and give feedback. The approximated social media users increases 2.77 billion in 2019 from 2.46 billion. It gives a platform to the consumers to share their point of view. Advertisement and sales promotions. Social sites launched ads in 2005, and for traditional media, the effectiveness of the ads is difficult to measure, but in the social sites, there are previous records of the ads, so that the credibility is so high. The social media campaigning is most cost effective and less noisy. Social media and e-commerce. Social media basically promote the e-commerce, and it accelerate the e-commerce process. And social media centered business promote the e-commerce heavily, and customers see the platform as a market, and the whole thing depends on the loyalty. There are different apps through the payment can make, and this expand the strong online payment method. Comparison between product. Comparison with different products and the price of the product is so much easy with the help of this media, and maintaining the product quality is the main thing. And brand recall, and especially brand recall, can lead to the brand establishment. Social media also increases the product adoption ratio, but customer awareness is a very vital thing. And online selling increases the technology dependency. It also increases the trust to the people by or sell the through the social media. Value-based post. Maintaining the value-based post is very much important thing, because in social sites there are different aged people, and through the social media we can share anything, and within a second it can reach to the millions of people. So maintaining the value-based post is so much important factor. Conclusion. Social media is a useful tool to communicate with the people, and it gives the growth to the local business. Social sites change the planning strategies, advertisement process, and brand image, etc. People are more used to with the user-friendly content. These low-cost platforms not only expand the market, but give exposure and to establish the brand loyalty. Brand promotional strategies, advertising methods, public relations strategies, presentation of the products, etc. all are gauge a modern way of thinking through the social media. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Sujata Paul. Thank you so much. Can we please have a very big round of applause for her for such a fantastic presentation? Yeah, please wait for questions. I have one because I'd just like to, add a point on this, that there is a very small shop, I live in the Shibpur locality, very close to the Botanical Garden, Nobanno area, and all. There's a very small shop in a market called Roots and Moons. It's a very interesting name. And very recent times, the last 5 years or so, they've been doing fantastic businesses. And I was just wondering, what's the key, what the key strategy that they were doing. In recent times, I've seen that there are Facebook groups, and WhatsApp groups, uh, I had the chance to see my wife's phone, and there are WhatsApp groups created by Rooms and Moons, and every day she's sending new saris, advertisements of new saris. These saris look good. এই শাড়িটার ভিতরে এই নতুন ডিজাইনটা রয়েছে, and this will give all these things. Facebook Live she is doing, and then I realized that this is the key for her success. There are 4 other shops beside hers, and none of them are doing as good businesses as hers. Though probably the other shops do probably have better, products for sale there, but they no one knows it. But my wife every time, gets that thing, new, new sari, new this thing, and obviously she's making she's making a fortune in the puja time. So thank you so much for such a fantastic way of saying that how our local businesses are working. And obviously this is you touched a very important point about the women empowerment, because this shop is actually run by a lady, and she's doing fantastic business. If there is any further question, please. Yeah. Question per se, but what she has said about local businesses, thanks to the pandemic, the advertisers, they have understood how these local businesses can also be integrated into the national market. Now we have something which you will all learn in due course of time, something called programmatic in advertising. Digitally, people are buying and selling spaces to reach out to a niche audience. For example, if she is running a chocolate, or let us get you a bigger example. Spotify. All of you have heard of Spotify? Spotify, when they do the ad from the north to south of Mumbai, do you know the ads change every 5 kilometers depending on the locality they go from one to the other? Why? Because they're targeting those local people. In Kolkata, Spotify ads in South Kolkata and in North Kolkata are completely different. If you see the hoardings, you will see even Spotify says Shoru Goli Lal Roak, Ektu Adda Spotify. Because North Calcutta is identified with the narrow lanes and the red brick sitting areas and the Adda culture and a little bit of music with Spotify. But South Calcutta, posh malls, big parks, and Spotify. So you see the localization of this whole thing. It's a very relevant topic that she's picked up. A big hand to her once again. She's been my student. I feel very proud that she's presented such a nice paper. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So what have we learned in the 4 speeches? Obviously, we started with Sir's fantastic presentation on what mainstream is, and then we learned about the various ways of mainstreams. The first one was obviously the digital governance. The second one was how our culture is changing, how the way we are now working, speaking, in a different language, different culture, and obviously how the businesses are changing. So with that, can we please thank the 3 presenters and especially the keynote speaker with a very big round of applause, please. Thank you. We can do better. Thank you so much. And this ends this particular set of presentation and this particular session. We will come back at 2 o'clock here after the lunch. And may I request all the students that please come back. Please sit down. Please have a seat. Hello, sirs. Please have a seat. Please have a seat. We'll be coming back here at 2 o'clock and after lunch, and all the students, please do compulsorily come in this room for the next session. And may I just ask Orindam sir to say it. I would request the volunteers to take the paper presenters as speakers, and Shuman sir, the chair for the session, for lunch to the VIP lounge. And students, go and have a quick lunch, grab a bite, come back. We have a very engaging session in the second half. You'll get to hear several other important topics. So come back and join us. Our session, the second session, ends at 3:30. After that, you can head home. Tomorrow, please join us at 11 o'clock for UG 1, section 1 and 2. Radhika and Simran, please keep the attendance for your sections. For UG 3, Srishti, please keep the attendance. For UG 5, Srishti and Unchita, yes, Unchita is screening her neck. For UG 5, Oishani, Chirantan.